So I guarantee you are going to stay stuck dealing with adrenal fatigue if you don't understand the main contributory factors to it.
I'm so tired.
So what is adrenal fatigue and how can it be contributing to your fatigue symptoms? Whether those are things like having trouble waking up in the morning, not recovering from your workouts or activity, just feeling drained afterwards or the day after, not having energy throughout the day, and even just feeling some brain fog as well. All those things can be a result of adrenal fatigue, which the real accurate term is HPA axis dysfunction, and we will dive into what that means. So when we talk about the adrenals, what does that mean? The adrenals, ad means on top of, and renal refers to the kidneys. So we're talking about small glands that are on top of the kidneys that influence hormonal production. And the big ones that we're looking at here are going to include cortisol and DHEA. Cortisol is a type of hormone that is going to be released with increased stress.
Is there anything that Ryan does that causes you stress?
And it can also help mobilize blood sugars. It can help increase your immune response in the short term. So, when your body is stressed out, and I'm using stress broadly, stress could be an infection, it could be psychological stress, it could be increased blood sugars, whatever it is, some sort of stress that the body is feeling, too much activity. That is what is going to cause a release of cortisol from your adrenals. Now, the problem is when those adrenals are overstimulated, when we're getting cortisol release too much, too frequently. If you're really stressed out over an extended period of time, that is when we start to see your body start to have changes because of it. So it's not the adrenals, again, that are down-regulating cortisol production. What's happening is higher up in the HPA axis, which stands for the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. The hypothalamus is a part in your brain, and that is like one of the main regulatory centers that is monitoring your environment for all these different cues. It's seeing what is the temperature like, am I too hot, am I too cold, what is my metabolism looking like, what's my blood sugar, is there any infections going on. It's monitoring all these different things, and then it is signaling to your pituitary, which is also in your brain, to release different hormones that control all different aspects of your body. So your pituitary gland will actually control your hormonal release, so whether that's estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, progesterone, it can control growth hormone, right? So, which is going to control your muscle growth and bone growth. Your pituitary gland will control, obviously, cortisol release when it comes to responses to stressors within the body. It'll also regulate your thyroid. So if your body is under a lot of stress for a lot of different reasons, it can affect your thyroid levels. And a whole bunch of other things, your circadian rhythm, your daily sleep-wake cycle, your body temperature, your thirst, your blood glucose. All of these things are regulated by your hypothalamus via your pituitary, and that will start to send out hormones that influences other organs within your body, one of them being your adrenals. When we talk about adrenal fatigue, what we're really saying is there is something off between your hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenals, and that signaling is not operating properly. And typically this is a result of prolonged elevations in cortisol that's being released by your adrenals in response to some sort of stressor or stressors within your body. This downregulates your HPA axis. So by understanding this also allows us to understand how to properly test for HPA axis dysfunction. So the best test to see if you are dealing with HPA axis dysfunction, which is what a lot of people call adrenal fatigue or burnout, is a 4-point salivary cortisol and DHEA test. It is what it sounds like. You are spitting in 4 different tubes throughout the day, and you are looking at the difference in your cortisol levels over the course of 24 hours. So now that you have that information and then you verified this is what you're dealing with, it's not fatigue from some other reason, which there can be many other reasons that cause fatigue. Now what you need to do is understand the 6 main causes to adrenal fatigue. Number 1 is going to be nutritional deficiencies or excesses. So too much of specific nutrients, too little, not getting enough minerals. They can all lead to dysfunction within the HPA axis. Number 2 is stressors, and stressors could be psychological or physical. If you are in a job that's really stressful, if you have had past trauma, that can also be considered a stressor. If you are working out too much, that can be a problem. And then also if you're doing things like cold plunges, which is a very strong sympathetic stimulant, that can also worsen or create an adrenal fatigue if you're already broken down. So you always need to be careful with doing these things that sound great, but in your context, they will actually worsen things. And I see this in my clients all the time. Number 3 is immunological factors like allergies and food sensitivity. So if you are being exposed to allergens within your environment chronically, that can raise an inflammatory response in your body, or if it's food sensitivities, which can be a good bit harder to identify. But either one of those are causing an immunological response, an inflammatory response that can affect your adrenals. Number 4 is microbes. So any type of infection within your body, whether it's obvious, like you know you're dealing with something like a chronic Lyme disease, or something that's a little bit harder to diagnose, like an Epstein-Barr or cytomegalovirus, even dysbiosis, an imbalance between good and bad bacteria within your gut, can cause an inflammatory response within your gut and throughout your body systemically. So any type of microbial involvement can affect your body as well. Number 5 is toxins, and this can be environmental toxins like heavy metals like mercury, tin, cadmium, lead, or it can also be certain other environmental toxins like pesticides, flame retardants, PFOAs. There are plenty of different toxins within your environment that we're exposed to on a daily basis. And it's not that you're going to get rid of all these exposures. That's not realistic. But too much exposure to certain things, especially over an extended period of time when your body's already broken down, will create further problems within your body. And number 6, lifestyle factors. I'm talking about things like satisfaction at work, not getting enough quality sleep, not getting enough sun exposure or getting too much sun exposure, having friends and social support, playing. All these different types of lifestyle factors are going to influence your overall level of health. And if you're not getting quality sleep, if you're not getting out in the sun and your circadian rhythm is off, because remember, your hypothalamus and pituitary are really governing that circadian rhythm. So when that's off, it is going to affect the hypothalamus and pituitary, which can in turn affect your adrenals and cause adrenal fatigue. So those are the 6 big causes of HPA axis dysfunction, aka adrenal fatigue or burnout. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I think you're really going to like this one as well. And if you got any value from this video, please make sure to like and subscribe.